Welcome back to Create, Build, and Manage Daily. I recently wrote a blog about how business has become weaponized. Several experts are saying that it's only a matter of time before we see cyber attacks on a grand scale. So what are you doing to protect yourself? Ben Singleton is the co-founder of netGenius, and he joins me in studio tonight. Ben, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So talk about your career. I want to start there.
Okay.
Because I've had other cyber experts come in here, but you have a unique background that I really want to highlight. You worked in law enforcement before you ever got into helping cybersecurity. Talk about that.
I did. I worked at a local police department for about 12 years. And for the last half of that, I'd say I worked specifically on cybersecurity. The cybercrime was becoming very popular at that time. This was a while back, obviously. Right. But we were getting a lot of cases in, cyber cases, and they involved credit card fraud and all kinds of, child trafficking and all that other kind of stuff. And so it was on someone to figure that stuff out, and I knew nothing about it, so I just started learning. And while doing that, I met my business partner, Mo, who was the network administrator at the police department at the time.
Gotcha.
And he was a tremendous help to me in terms of understanding how all this stuff worked and how to prosecute or how to investigate these crimes. And so after I left the police department, Mo was obviously the go-to guy for anything tech. And so we just kept in communication after that. And then one day it was, hey, why don't we do something with this, And that's how we got into IT services.
And it seems like a good partnership to fight cyber attacks. Your experience in law enforcement and, of course, in cyber crime. And then your partner's a network engineer. Like, he knows all the, how to actually work it. So it seems like a good partnership. Did it take a while for you guys to be like, we should start a business, or was it something you kind of on your lunch break talked about?
It's funny you asked that, because we have had a third partner in a previous business where we built a fugitive tracking system that we sold to police departments. And after that, and during that actually, we found the hole that we're filling with netGenius. And that hole was that police departments all over the state don't have reliable IT services that they can call at 3 o'clock in the morning to get their in-car computer fixed. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of those is, until we started this, and I say we, several other companies started at about the same time, IT services was an hourly thing. It was the government agency, whatever, local, city, whatever kind of government agency it is. We're talking water districts, police departments, fire departments, EMS, everything. They would call their IT services company and then pay hourly for them to come show up and fix their equipment. And the problem with that is that governments work on annual budgets. And so if, for example, the budget had all been used up by July, if you have a problem in August, that means you can't get any help because you've already used the budget and there's no money left to call IT. So our solution to this problem was give them an annual budget they can work with. And so we charge a flat monthly fee to all of our government agencies and all our clients, because we have clients outside of the government space. But that flat monthly fee allows them to budget for the year, and we don't charge for anything outside of that flat monthly fee, and everything is covered. So when an officer needs help at 3 a.m., he calls us. There's no running it up the chain to ask a supervisor, can I spend this money to get my computer fixed? None of it. It's all done. We just respond when they call and take care of it for them.
But that's the brilliance of what that officer is going through.
Right, and that's a big part of it too, is that these other companies, not having any experience in the government space, don't know how important that tool is. When an officer makes a traffic stop, the only information he or she knows about the person in that car comes from that computer. And that could be that that person is wanted for capital murder. It could be that that person is an officer safety threat. It could be all kinds of things. It could be that that person kidnapped a child, and maybe there's a child in the car at the time. And that's an opportunity to rescue someone, right? So without that computer, it's like not having one of the tools on their belt. And so it's very important that they don't wait 12 hours to get that equipment fixed.
Now, you mentioned you have other clients besides law enforcement. So do you work with businesses, individual, all of the above?
Just businesses. We try to focus on business, but we have law firms, medical practices. We have a cryptocurrency bank. We have clients in New York City, Florida, pretty much all over the country. Most of our clients are here in North Texas, but we do have clients outside of that. But basically, any enterprise level business we'll do business with.
And they seem to be the ones that are most targeted when there are cyber attacks. We've seen listen, we talk about what's going on in Ukraine, and we know we're going to see what's going on with Russia. But even before that, you had these ransomwares and things like that. So that's one of the many things you do is you protect your clients from that. And
Absolutely.
That's becoming, how much do you have to constantly be studying and learning new technology to stay ahead of the game?
Always. And it's no different than Microsoft or any other large corporation that provides this kind of equipment and software. There will be a breach, and then Microsoft will figure out how that happened, issue a patch, and send that out, and it's just a constant battle every week. And it's the same for us. We find some other vulnerability that has been exposed in a piece of software or an operating system, and we have to figure out how to mitigate that, and we do that through firewalling and other rules on the network.
Makes sense. Your website is netGeniusinc.com. I said that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there we go. I want to make sure I get that website correctly. This is where they can go and find you. You mentioned most of your clientele's in North Texas, but you can help out somebody in our Los Angeles market or Boston or where have you, right?
Luckily, with the beauty of technology today, we can do most things remotely. So we have remote control over all of the client devices and everything. The only thing we can't do remotely is unplug cables and stuff like that. But we have staff for that, and we fly all over the place to handle those kind of situations.
Got about a minute left. What are some practical things for someone who's watching? Maybe just one or two pieces of advice that you can give them that if they do tonight, they'll be more secure than they were before they heard you.
I get this question all the time. So for just individuals who want to improve their security posture, I would say number one, passwords. So get a password manager like LastPass or Keeper or something like that, and keep random passwords if possible, but if not, keep separate passwords for every site that you visit and every service that you log into, and then store those passwords in a password manager. Don't write them down and stick them on your monitor. Don't write them in a notebook and leave it in your car. Yep. And then second to that is multi-factor authentication, and what that is when you log into your bank account, for example, you will be prompted to enter a code that's texted to you or that you pull from an authenticator app.
Well, that makes sense. I got to leave it right there, but that's good stuff. And by the way, I use LastPass. I like that. So stick around. This is Create, Build, and Manage Daily.